guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Crackle on the Beat. With myself, Vicky. I am a radio presenter and a music journalist that just loves obsessing and addressing all things music. So if that's your kind of thing, then hit subscribe, like, share, all that jazz, and we'll get into it. So today is a festival review and I'm going to be unwrapping the magic of Boomtown 2025, Chapter 4, The Power of Now. This is the second time that I got to experience the multi-layered, magical, wild, imaginative and creative EDM-led festival down in the South Down National Park in Winchester, UK. So this year's Boomtown theme was Chapter 4, The Power of Now, and it started on the Wednesday, the 6th of August and finished on Sunday, the 10th of August. So I went to Boomtown again with this solo polo crew. Big ups to the solo polos. And I had another equally tiring but equally exciting and fabulous time as usual. So Boomtown is really, really special as it has some of the most varied and some of the biggest headliners from all different genres and all different walks of life. They are heavily appreciated for their drum and bass scene, jungle scene, techno scene, amongst other EDM genres. But they are also known for their punk, folk and sort of indie alt sort of bohemian scene as well, and they have been pushing the boundaries with an anything goes kind of sort of attitude for quite a while now. They also have a storyline. They create a storyline that interlinks and connects year in, year out. You know, Boomtown is not only a music festival in itself, but it also includes a very theatrical and immersive narrative that both actors and citizens can get involved with throughout the weekend. This itself really sets Boomtown apart from all of the other festivals with this narrative alone. You know, not to mention, you know, the avant-garde, uniqueness, colour and, you know, creative visual designs and aesthetics. You know, think of Boomtown as one of your wildest, most vivid and happiest and most euphoric of dreamscapes. You know, there really is nothing like Boomtown, and as anyone who has been would tell you, you really cannot describe the magic of Boomtown to someone until they experience it themselves. And I'm really not being dramatic with this, you know, but I'm going to try my best to do that today anyway. I'm mainly focused on the music side of things with Boomtown this year rather than the storyline because, well, you know, this is a music channel, but perhaps one year I will get involved a little bit more with the storyline and get some views on that as well. I did my best to get to every stage, but, you know, it is a very hilly, huge place and there are only so many sort of acts that I can get. You know, there are a lot of clashes as well, so I did as much as I could. I actually arrived on the Thursday and the queues were a lot longer and a lot less smooth than last year's entrance. So that's the only downside to it all that I could really start this review off with, really, as I did lose a whole day to queuing, which wasn't great. You know, last year I think I was in the festival within an hour or so of arriving, and you know, I think this year that had a lot to do with, you know, tighter security and also just being a much larger capacity with lots of people attending this year. So yeah, that definitely had a lot to do with it. But having said that, once I was settled in and Friday rolled around, that is where the fun started. So here we go. So on the Friday at around noon, Boomtown launched their opening ceremony, which is kind of like what marks the official opening of the festival, and it's when they open up all of their main stages as well. So the opening ceremony always seems to have this rolling anticipation, you know, cleansing the stage with Sage reeling off some unifying speeches to bring us all together as one. Visually, flames, pastel smoke, light, and an explosion of confetti literally just doused the crowd. It was insane. It was beautiful. A beautiful way to start the festival. And then it sort of rolled into the performance element that I had mentioned, and we had Emily Mackis, who's like a sort of drum and bass vocalist, and Inja on the mic, which kind of kicked off the opening ceremony, kicked off the start of the day, you know, with their own sort of themed song around the opening of Boomtown, which I think was amazing. It was really, really special because it does mark the beginning of the festival, and instead of just throwing us in the deep end, it kind of like warms us up into something that is basically just going to be the start of a magical weekend. Check it out. So I'm going to start off with one of their brand new woodland stages, brand new to Boomtown this year, which was called Inara Forest. So Inara Forest was truly was sort of the furthest point for most people to get to, and it was just behind Throughtopia, Old Town and Throughtopia, just at the top of the hill. The layout was slightly different this year, but this forest was a never seen stage before. Inara Forest very much resembled a lot of similarities to the Hidden Woods, which I spoke about a lot in my previous Boomtown review, but it had a more sort of geometric designs with lights and triangles sort of running through, and it was very lit up, very, very lit up, even in the daytime. This stage was sort of slightly smaller than I was expecting, but the sound system in this forest was still highly impressive, as Boomtown usually is. The downside to sort of getting into Inara Forest is that there wasn't a very clear traffic system getting in and out of Inara Forest, so there was a very sort of chock-a-block and tight exit, which it definitely hindered people's experience and chance of sort of getting in and getting out a little bit. Nonetheless, it was an amazing new addition, and I love the forest venues and I think they should have more of them, so I really, really appreciated that in itself. So, rapper Flowdan, British UK grime rapper Flowdan, was playing, and he was really, really good. He'd done well with being sort of the ultimate hype man with his demeanour and his thick vocals that he always delivers within his sort of his performances. Although his DJ definitely pulled a few too many unnecessary wheel ups, which I think grated on the crowd a little, but I still had so much fun. Check it out. So, heading all the way over to pretty much the other side of the festival, in Spectrum 360, which is located in Area 404. Last year, Area 404 was one of my favourite districts to wander around. It was still located in the same sort of area, and this district is probably one of the most sort of industrial parts of the festival. Aesthetically, it is very, very hard tech coded, industrial and hardcore. I like to see this area as sort of the EDM area for metalheads. It definitely is the sort of grittiest place in Boomtown. So my favourite spot in Area 404, which I think a lot of people would agree with, is the Spectrum 360 stage, which has a sort of in the round setup with a circular stage that sort of follows around. It's highly graffitied, neon, injected with sort of like acid aesthetics. Yeah. I got to see one of my favourite hard tech, hardstyle DJ producers, Annie, spelled A.N.I, which I have followed on social media for quite a long time, always commented on her videos and said that she should be at Boomtown, and so behold, she was there, which was amazing. With her hard, full techno beats and 4x4 party style hype, she has an effortless flair on what can only be described as the hardest beats in Boomtown. This was such a special stomping moment for me. Just check it out. Over to the Grand Central stage, there were quite a lot of acts captured this year at Grand Central stage throughout this review, but we will start off with Corrupt FM. So the Grand Central stage is a relatively easy stage to get to, depending on where you are. If you're in the main bowl of it, Grand Central is like easy peasy to get to. It's still in the same place, same location as it was last year. It's still very colourful with sort of colours of turquoise and orange. That's kind of what people know Grand Central for if they're thinking about it aesthetically. This is what I would say was probably the second biggest stage to the Lionsgate, which is the biggest. So, Corrupt FM, if you don't know about Corrupt FM, then get to know. They are a group of garage MCs and DJs from a mockumentary called People Just Do Nothing. So Corrupt FM always have the best energy, and they are a highly entertaining bunch of lads. You know, they always carry a sense of humour with them, and they do tend to stay in character when they're on stage as well. So I do feel as if this would have been a much better experience if I personally was in a better location. I was sort of at the side of the stage because it was very busy, and the audio was a lot quieter than I expected. And I don't think I was the only one to sort of notice this, as I did notice people sort of starting to chatter and break away. So I'm not sure what happened there with that one. All in all, their performance as like entertainers was great, but I think, you know, the audio could have been slightly altered to just make it a better experience for people who are a little further away. I saw Corrupt FM at Boundary Brighton in 2023, and they were fantastic, and the sound quality was amazing. So yeah, I put that down to a technical error, but here I have some footage of it anyway. Check it out. Now we are going all the way up the hill. Oh, it's exhausting. We're going to Tribe of Frog. So I didn't catch the name of the artist playing or the DJs playing when I went to Tribe. But as Tribe of Frog is such a mesmerising and staple venue, I obviously had to mention it in this review regardless. So it's got a lot of steep and drawn out sort of like paths to walk up when you're heading up to Tribe, and whether you use the path or the stairs. But once you get there, it really is so rewarding. You know, it is a psychedelic land of colour, enchantment and extraterrestrial vibes. That's the only way I can describe it. It's beautiful. So Tribe of Frog mainly plays like psytrance, and the vibes are very sort of hyper-focused, lasers galore, butterflies in the tree. Again, another woodland venue that I just absolutely adore. Check it out. So now we're heading back down into the main bowl of the festival, and we're going over to the Copperwood district with Engine House. So the Engine House is, as I said, located in the district of Copperwood, and it mainly hosts acts of the more sort of folksy or indie, or more like, dare I say it, dad rock types of bands, but we love it. We need it there. So I actually got to see the Wurzels perform, and they instantly separated the idea of Boomtown being an only drum and bass festival when they started singing folksy tracks like Cider Drinker. So the stage is very rustic looking, and the style of it very much fit perfectly for the genres that they play at this stage. And not to forget the Beans on Toast set that was there on Sunday at 3 p.m. every single year. He almost has a permanent slot at 3 p.m. on Sunday at Engine House. And he's one to watch. He really is. So Beans on Toast, you know, he's very emotional, unifying, humble, a man of the people. You know, his sets are humorous, relatable, and very, very touching too. And I always tear up a little when I go to Beans on Toast set. And I didn't get much recording of this set with Beans on Toast because I really was very much in the moment with this set, but I got a little bit, so check it out.
I woke up naked on the kitchen floor, and that's why I don't drink tequila anymore. Down at the Coach and Horses, the Friday before last, I was hanging out with friends, reminiscing about the past. The Matt was playing records, it turned into a party. Out came a bottle of old Vega Vare. The next thing I know, I'm off my face again. We get a taxi home and I start an argument. I said all these things I didn't mean. I acted like a prick, I can't really remember it.
So swinging back round, just next door, actually back round to the Grand Central, and I get to talk about Miss Dynamite at the Grand Central, which was probably one of the biggest headlining acts there this year. Yeah, so by this point it was becoming very hot, and I had been moving a lot, so I spent most of her set at the side of the stage lying down. I know, weak. But you could tell that Miss Dynamite was a pro, and you know what she does, and you could tell that she has been in the game for a very long time. You can see her professionalism on stage, and you really get to experience that with her. She really knows what she's doing with a crowd, and you know, her professionalism and her vibes really shone through. She mixed up some of her most well-known tracks, fast and slow, with chilled reggae dub beats, and switching over to sort of drum and bass and sort of jungle elements as well. She really was the perfect mixture of, you know, jungle, drum and bass, keeping people on their toes, but also chilling out, relaxing to some dub, sort of reggae sort of vibes as well. Yeah, Miss Dynamite had everything to offer. You literally could lie down at the side of the stage whilst everyone else is up there, you know, skanking out. You really could do both with hers, and you didn't look out of place. It was amazing. I loved Miss Dynamite. Check it out. So another woodland venue, and I'm going to just mention this one briefly. I didn't spend long there, which is very surprising of me, given the genre that they mainly play there. But again, it's up a massive hill, and I had places to be and I had things to do. But Tangled Roots, I didn't get sort of the name of the artists that were playing at Tangled Roots at this very moment. But again, like I said, it is a venue that is sort of set up in another woodland area at the top of the huge hill. But like I said, I simply wanted to throw this one in there because it is the best place for jungle if you are a junglist like me at Boomtown. Check out Tangled Roots. So So I'm going to be talking about this sort of act by act rather than stage by stage, because I could clump all of the acts on the same stage together, talk about that and move on. But you know what? I'm talking about it in the order of what I saw. So next up, we've got another at Grand Central, the Sex Pistols. Really interested to see how they were going to be as well. I was very, very surprised to hear that the Sex Pistols were part of the lineup. I just didn't put the two and two together, but the more and more I thought about what the Sex Pistols sort of represent and what they stand for, the more and more it kind of started to make sense. So it had some of the original members, but Frank Carter was the lead vocalist, and the Sex Pistols really sprinkled a little bit of punk and anarchy into the night, with what as a festival is usually doused with drum and bass. So the Sex Pistols really done a good chunk of their classics, including the one and only Anarchy in the UK and Pretty Vacant, which you can check out here. They really, really did bring that sense of unity and togetherness that sort of like full band really do bring to the stage. I really, really enjoyed the Sex Pistols, and you know, I go off on my own a lot throughout this festival, which I know the other solos would tell you. But I spent a good chunk of time with the other solos at the Sex Pistols. Understandably, they're very popular. We all wanted to go, and I really enjoyed them. And I think they were a great addition to the sort of heavily drum and bass sort of EDM lineup this year. And it especially was good for sort of the older generation that were there, because there are people of all ages at Boomtown. Check it out. The Lionsgate. Well, heading back over to the grand sparkling Lionsgate portal, and the jungle drum and bass breakbeat goddess, also known as Nia Archives, threw down a really energetic and euphoric set. And truth be told, I wasn't actually at this set for very long, and I was quite far back, right up at the top of the hill, but it really, really did give me, it really did allow me to have this really fantastic view of this sparkling, beautiful stage setup that is Lionsgate. So her set, you know, it was glittering with colours of like purple, gold and green, you know, saturated with happy hardcore, bouncy break beats, and hella remixes. You know, Nia Archives has really, really, really got that energy. I'm not gonna swear, but you know. So granted, I didn't stay at this set for as long as I probably should have, and I didn't seem to catch many tracks performed from her most recent album. She might have done them and I may have missed some of them, but she really did put out a lot of energetic remixes with that Nia Archives flair that we all know and love. Here you go, check it out. Pop up the bass. Over at the Grand Central again, yes, I know I've spent a lot of time there. We had dancehall and R&B star Sean Paul. Like what? Headlining on a Sunday. I was a little apprehensive as I thought Sean Paul was a very random choice for Boomtown. But you know what? It was actually very, very vibey. dance hall filled sort of energy, nostalgic as well, and a very summery set. And it was a very sunny day as well. You know, he threw out some of his classics that we all know and love, such as Get Busy and Temperature. Here you go.
Get anything you want, call it testing, but don't take it. Once you get live, hey, Boomtown. When I step live, I'm not seeing this time, no people are not home. I wanna be keeping you warm. I got the right, that bitch up and get that from the start. Oh, I got the right, that thing to turn you on. And get out, wanna be the papa, you can be the mom.
Now, I know what you're going to be thinking, that I barely moved from Grand Central the whole time I was at Boomtown. But I did, in fact, explore here, there and everywhere. It just so happened that my favourite lineups mostly happened at Grand Central. And this is absolutely no different for who I'm about to announce, 4am Crew. So 4am Crew were performing at Grand Central just before the closing ceremony, and I have seen 4am Crew before at Reading Festival last year, and I also reviewed their most recent album, Incognito Rhythm, last year as well. And at the time, I branded this album one of the best jungle and breakbeat albums of our generation, which I still believe. I absolutely love 4am Crew. It just gets me going. And, you know, I'm a huge Junglist fan, so take it from me, they are good. They are good. If you're into jungle, you've got to go and see 4am Crew. So they played their set just before the closing ceremony at Grand Central, and it was nothing short of wild and full of energy. You know, as usual, bouncing around on the stage, accompanied by their Daisy Roots Movements dancers with deep, delicious, hearty drums and absorbing bass. Pretty much everyone there knew the tracks and the skits and everything in between, and the energy and vibes that 4am Crew is all about. And what better place to deliver that kind of energy than at Boomtown? I would confidently say that this was one of my favourite sets this year. 100% definitely up there as one of my favourite sets this year, if not my favourite. And I didn't get bored or need to come up for air once. There's nothing more to be said, just check it out.
All right.
So we're nearly at the end and the closing ceremony, you know, so just like the opening ceremony on the Friday, they must do a closing ceremony to sort of conclude the festival on the Sunday night as well. So the closing ceremony usually concludes the storyline of the weekend. It gives us a monumental display of fireworks and explosion, and it also hints a little at next year's theme, which they announced as, ready for it, Chapter 5, Radical Redesign for next year's 2026. And I think doing that is really good because it gives people that itch to want to book next year's straight away. It's a very, very clever marketing strategy. It gets people wanting more because there's always going to be something new. That's what's special about Boomtown. So admittedly, I did want to go and see the closing ceremony at the Lionsgate because it's a new stage and obviously it is the largest stage. But obviously I was enjoying 4am Crew so much down at Grand Central, and all of my other solo polo friends most of them were at the Grand Central, so I decided to stay put to avoid any traffic and missing both of the ceremonies. We don't want that. So I stayed put. So we got to see the Collector come out on stage, which was one of the actors who was very much heavily involved in sort of the storyline this year. And we actually got to see him come out on stage, which was very unexpected and surreal, actually. I thought that was strange because I didn't think he was a real person. But the music and the fireworks were a feast for the eyes, to say the least. You didn't know where to look, and it was just breathtakingly beautiful. Oh, just take a look.
Are you with me? Are you with me? Mr. Bigger and the Guardians have taken over Lionsgate Portal with their fake version of me. We need to reach them, break through the illusion so that they can see it too. We are already connected. That is our power. We are one. Move as one.
Create the blueprint for how we want our world to be.
Wrap this up, I do just want to give some honourable mentions. Obviously I didn't get footage for everything, and I didn't see every act in every place, but some honourable mentions. The Hidden Woods, very, very close to where I camped, easy to get to, beautiful, sandy, beachy, woodland stage, love it. Lots of sort of reggae and sort of dub beats going on in there. Another amazing sort of mention that I have to bring up, even though there wasn't really any music that I went and saw around there, was Throughtopia. It's kind of like a hippie highway, you know. There was lots of opportunities to sort of like make jewellery, hang out at the fire pit, meditate, get massages. The sort of place where someone like me would love, you know, chilled hippie environment, somewhere to just chill out and get away from all of the chaos. Again, Old Town as well, which is just before Throughtopia, has a very ye olde vibe. Said to one of my friends while I was there that it reminded me of Canterbury on acid. So that says it all. Love Old Town. There's lots of busking in there as well, and it very much feels like, you know, your local town. I love Old Town. Loads and loads to mention. There was the Metropolis district with the new hydro stage. Oh my gosh, so many things. So many little small tiny venues like E-Numbers, Gabba Kababa. Just so much going on, and I wish I could cram it all in, but there you go. I've probably forgotten a million things that I should have mentioned here, but we only have so much time. And I did pick up a little bit of merch. So last year I was wearing the merch for the video. This year I'm just going to show you it here. So this is one of the tops that I bought. So we got, you know, bang goes normal with their little Boomtown logo. And then we've got the back of it here, which is one of the stages, pink and green. Yeah, cute. I always love to get a bit of merch. So, Boomtown 2025, that is a wrap. Oh, chaos, but stunning. Absolutely loved it. Did you go to Boomtown this year? If so, did you love it? Or was it not your kind of vibe? Let me know what your experience was, and let me know in the comments what you want me to review next as well. But until next time, peace.